Coming up on Look Today, well, a presentation of the draft for the Saratoga Charter was given last night at the Saratoga Public Library. I've got details. And we've got more on the battle against the heroin and opioid epidemic in our communities. More on that coming up. Plus, Hudson Headwaters Health Network announces transitions in some leadership roles. I've got those details. It's all ahead on Look Today. Welcome, everyone. I'm Jay Hood Jackson, and this is Look Today. Well, in tonight's program, I sit down with Dan Begrin. Now, he's a folk musician. We're joined by Garrett Livermore. He's the executive director, Great Camp Sagamore. They're here to discuss a concert that will benefit the camp. I also sit down with Michael Prezioso. He's commissioner of Saratoga County Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services. And we're joined by Amanda Duff. She's a public educator from the Saratoga County Public Health Department. And they're here to talk about suicide and the effects associated with this very important issue. It's happening on April 6th, by the way. Plus, we've got your weather for the Tri-North counties, but first, these headline stories. Well, in our lead story, a presentation on the draft of the Saratoga Charter was given last night at the Saratoga Springs Public Library. Now, recently, the Saratoga Charter Review Commission released its first draft charter that would implement a mayor-council form of government in place of the current commission form. The meeting offered a public forum where members of the community could speak about revisions to the draft. Well, we were at the library and we spoke to Bob Turner. He's chair of the commission about the transparency issue.
So our draft charter can be found on our website, saratogacharter.com, as well as all the information on our surveys, the articles we read, the minutes, the agendas of the meetings. You can also email us at saratogacharter@gmail.com and tell us what changes we need to make, and to stay tuned to the media, and especially Look TV, where we plan on announcing future public forums and events.
Oh, thank you, Bob, for the little plug there. Hey, I really encourage you, go to the website, find out more about it. The Commission's doing a very thorough job. There's opinions on both sides of the issue, and the more you know, the better informed you are, okay? In other news, we have more news regarding the fight against the opioid and heroin epidemic. The Council for Prevention in Hudson Falls is teaming up with the Glens Falls Hospital Center for Recovery to offer an opioid diversion program. This is very interesting. The 4-month challenge would be for people to give people an opportunity to recover as a possible alternative to incarceration. Now, the program will include vocational rehabilitation and also outdoor activities like hiking, kayaking. Now, the initiative also involves the sheriff's departments from both Warren and Washington counties. Well, we spoke to Dave Saffer. He's executive director of the Council for Prevention.
Through a collaboration with the Center for Recovery and Warren and Washington counties, we have developed a program for opioid users who are 18 to 25-year-olds, first-time users, to help possibly divert them from the court system into treatment where they can get some counseling, get involved with some challenge activities, possibly some vocational resources if needed, to help them develop a life that is substance-free, filled with hope and recovery.
Wonderful idea. All right, switching from news to weather. This morning was cloudy. We did actually have some sun. And guess what? You ready? Expect some snow later tonight. Let's see how the week is shaping up. For a more detailed look at our weather, let's head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first forecast.
Well, thank you, Jesse. We have that wet weather chance really ramping back up, and it won't be just in the form of rainfall. We're going to see some snowfall mixing in as well. High pressure right now trying its best to hold on across portions of New England. Now we're pushing back out into the open waters of the Atlantic, really open the door for this next cold front to continue to push our way. The system has had a chance of severe weather with it, especially down in the south. History of some severe weather across portions of Mississippi, more so across Oklahoma and Texas, and then heavier rainfall chances all the way from the Gulf Coast back up to the U.S.-Canadian border as part of the bigger system. Temperature Temperature-wise, we're going to see 20s, 30s, especially as you head further north of Albany. You're going to be watching that's where that rain-snow line will kind of factor in as we go through the evening hours of tonight. We'll be back on the cold side of that, 30 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. You're going to see a little bit of snowfall moving in past the midnight hour, perhaps picking up an inch overnight, maybe another inch through daybreak, and then that transition to rainfall will happen through the afternoon and a high of about 36 degrees. So out the door tomorrow morning, be prepared for a little bit of light snow, 29 to 32 for the out the door temperatures. A few slick spots, especially on elevated surfaces. The good news is we've seen relatively warm air comparatively, and we're going to be seeing that snow really having a hard time accumulating on many of our roads. But we're going to continue to see that chance of wet weather with us through Friday afternoon, Friday night into earlier portions of Saturday. Saturday a bit more mild though, 40 degrees for the afternoon high. Back to sunshine on Sunday and Monday. We'll see temperatures peaking about 45 to 46 degrees before our next chance of some showers moves back in Tuesday. So we'll see some wet weather, some snow chances, but good news on the slopes as they could pick up some much needed snowfall over the next couple days. Well, that's it from the Weather Center. Now let's get back to you, Jesse.
Thanks, Brad. Okay, back to the news. Well, two key Hudson Headwater physician executives will be transitioning to new senior leadership roles. It's going to start July 1st. Dr. John Ruggie, he's the founder and CEO of the health center, will be moving to the role of executive chairman. Dr. Dan Larson has been named Chief Medical Office Emeritus. And in addition, Dr. Tucker Slingerland will assume the role of CEO. Well, we have contacted John Ruggie, and we're going to have him in for an interview very soon. In other news, well, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik introduced the Lift the Relocation Burden Military Spouses Act. Now, this bipartisan legislation will alleviate some of the undue stress, expenses, and excessive wait times professionally employed military spouses experience. Well, the Congresswoman spoke on the House floor.
I have reintroduced the Lift the Relocation Burden from Military Spouses Act. Military spouses serve too, and my bill will help alleviate unnecessary stress and expenses, help make job changes easier, and will give these spouses and their families some deserved predictability as they serve their nation.
Up next, I sit down with Dan Begren. He's a folk musician, and we're joined by Garrett Livermore. He's executive director of the Great Campus, Sagamore. They're here to discuss a concert that will benefit the camp. Plus, I also sit down with Michael Prezioso. He's a commissioner of the Saratoga County Department of Health and Addiction Services. And we're joined by Amanda Duff. She's a public educator from the Saratoga County Public Health. They're here to talk about suicide, the effects associated with this very important issue, and an event that's happening on April 6th. But first, if you see news happening, you want to share a story idea, how about join us for an interview? Then give us a call on the hotline. The number is 798-8000. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Look Today. I've got a couple of lookouts for tonight. Just quickly, the Wellspring fundraiser is tonight at Saratoga National Golf Course. So if you catch an early version of this program, please head out there and show your support. Maggie Frank has done many interviews here on Look Today, and that organization is very vital in our community. Wellspring really deals with a lot of issues with sexual abuse. Also, please go to Facebook. Tell us what you think. We're getting a lot of compliments and a lot of comments. Today, I heard from a woman in Lake George about our interviews and about the local news that we cover. So please let us know. We're very interested in your comments. And speaking of covering stories, the last look out tonight goes right to one of our own, Andrew Gabriel, who's really been in the field. He's been covering the Saratoga Charter Commission whenever there's an event, and he was at the council prevention for that story. And it's just really vital local news. So I want to thank Andrew for covering that stuff. Tonight on Look TV, it's sold. That's our call-in auction program. Great estate jewelry and coins. And don't forget, tune in tomorrow night for the stories that matter to you. Good night, everyone.